Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here in Malta, my final day here in Malta, and just had a wonderful last day with my guide, and I'll introduce her once. We got a show going on. You are Cynthia?
I'm Cynthia Zamit-Mempo, and I'm Maltese, and we call ourselves Maltese, not Maltesers, please.
That's right. So we're going to find out from Cynthia what we did on this final day in Malta, and it was equally amazing. We had some wonderful times the last few days, and this is my coda, and I'm here at the Phoenician where I've been staying. I started out at the Corinthia Palace, so I've gotten to see that, and then we got to see some other hotels that are just kind of amazing as well. We'll talk about those and a whole lot more on Insider Travel Report. Now, Cynthia, first of all, so in the morning I had some business to do. I had to do some interviews with the general manager of the Corinthia Palace. I had to do an interview with the general manager of the Phoenicia hotels, which are amazing, and you may have seen them already. I'm not sure when these are going to get scheduled, but they were amazing because they're beautiful luxury hotels. And then we were off, and so the first thing we did is you took me on out in the country. It takes a while sometimes to get out. It's not that far. Distances aren't far, but sometimes there's a little traffic. Because Malta's, it's a very well-populated island, but there's a lot of space, and there's a lot of space for things like vineyards and wineries. So the first thing we did, if I recall, we went to a winery called the Tabetta Wine Estates. Now talk about that and why you like that particular wine estate and what they do.
Well, as you well said, James, it's actually out away. It's in the upland area of Malta. So for us, we don't have mountains, and it's situated about 200 meters above sea level. But the estate has what I call breeding space, and they aim for quality wines, boutique wines, as opposed to quantity wines. The little building where they house is not a big, never-ending building, and you can see that the beauty. You feel you're in Tuscany or something. You know, the beauty of those vines just in front of you in the terraced fields in Malta, because most of our fields here are terraced, maybe separated by those dry stone walls or rubble walls, as we call them. So you can see the beauty, and of course, what we were doing was tasting the beauty of the local wine with an average of 14.5% alcohol. Sometimes we go a bit higher.
Is that why it tasted so good?
And the presentation, it's a beautiful venue, Tabetta Estates, location, wine. I think it's an all-rounder. What I would say is an all-rounder.
A great experience for your clients to go out there to taste the wines. The wines are fantastic. You don't get a lot of Maltese wines in the U.S., but this is a great way to experience them. And I asked, do they ship? And they say they do. It might take a little while to get there and a little bit more expensive, but it was a great way to. That was breakfast in the morning, but that was the way we went. But we did it. They gave us some food.
The Maltese way.
The Maltese way. Well, considering I'd started the previous day with beer, I figured I might as well go with wine.
We have to give you the Maltese habits, don't we?
I've picked all the bad habits. Actually, they're all good habits. That's the problem. Now, then we went off, and I'm trying to think, where did we go then? We
went to Mdina. We drove up via Rabat. We stopped in Rabat. Now, you mentioned Rabat, of course. Maybe in a previous interview, we mentioned Rabat in Gozo.
Yeah.
The reason
there's a Rabat in Malta as well.
Yes, the word Rabat is a Semitic word again, and that means to tie in, because a Rabat in Malta, like the Rabat in Gozo, tied in to the walled city once upon a time, and then the division took place over the years. But we stopped in Rabat, so we had a walk from Rabat to Medina, walking over the dry moat, the dry ditch that surrounds this beautiful,
which was again a Game of Thrones site, I think, I believe. So if you want to go into the movie thing, which we've been looking at, but it is an amazing walled city, very small, very intimate, very quiet. And actually, I had been there a couple nights before to have a wonderful tasting menu at a wonderful hotel, which is, what is it called?
It's called the Shara, X-A-R-A, Shara Palace. It's a relais chateau. A hotel with 17 suites, and yes, they have a Michelin star restaurant upstairs called the De Mondion, which is where you had your wine pairing dinner.
Yeah, which was quite the evening. I didn't expect it, and it was just quite an event. So then when we went back, I checked into the hotel, and we met the owners actually, and had a quick conversation about the hotel, and then we went walking off because you wanted to show me the rest of Medina, right, which is amazing.
It's a beautiful city, as we were saying, less than a square kilometre, less than 250 people living there. So it's an address to have. Anybody who has a bit of extra cash in the pocket, a few extra dollars, so to speak, would want to invest in a property for themselves. So Medina has seen over 7,000 years of history as well, because we did find Bronze Age settlements over there as well. So after the prehistoric temples, Bronze Age man settled on that very site of this beautiful
which was the capital originally. And then, of course, when the Knights of St. John came here, they didn't like it so much. Then they created Valletta, right?
Yes, of course. Well, they didn't like it, not from the aesthetic point of view, but for the sole reason that the walled city was too far inland, and they felt they couldn't defend. They had to be in the harbour in the 16th century. So only for that reason. But today, Valletta has its own beauty, a 16th century city. Medina, which is more of a medieval, and it's a city renowned for its doorways, door knockers, balconies. Well, you have to experience and feel as well why they call it the Silent City, especially in the evening, after 6 o'clock in the evening onwards.
Oh, nothing there. It's quiet. I came out. I was there. There's only. Oh, you said only about how many people? 250 people.
Less than that. Less than 250 residents in the city. So in the evenings, you'd hear a pin drop over there.
Although we actually didn't. We went off tour for a little while, and we walked into a fairly new hotel. I forget the name of it now. If you remember. Before and after. Right? Before, and we were just going to pop in, and then suddenly the owner came out, and we went upstairs. They have a rooftop restaurant. They have a little rooftop pool. It's only 6 rooms, right?
Yes, 6 beautiful rooms. And this is the beauty. The owner himself came along and introduced himself and gave us a tour of this place. Very proud, very house proud. Hotel proud in this case.
Yeah.
But this is us Maltese, and you cannot go anywhere without meeting somebody, stopping for a chit-chat. So we make you feel at home, not because you're a visitor, but it's because the way the Maltese are. So he went and he was explaining to, obviously, us when we were there, the effort he put into making this little hotel very sustainable, and what they are offering to visitors. They don't want to go big, they want it quiet and hidden, and I was very much impressed with the effort they put in. A lot of thought even into the suites, the way the bed was down below, and then because the ceilings are very high, they put the lounge, the settees, the living room,
office, and a library upstairs. Yes. It's a really intimate place, and already he seems to be so hopefully we'll get a chance to come back and stay there at some point. There's so many places that I looked at. These hotels that I've been to were amazing. The Corinthia Palace, this hotel, the Phoenicia, has been amazing, but then there are a lot of other alternative accommodations within Malta that can be equally interesting. And in Medina, those two, and then Shara, those are 2 amazing properties. So we did that. We went walked around a little bit more, and then you took me off to sort of seeing the coastline and seeing place. And you had said, there are not too many sandy beaches, but we went and found one, right?
Yes, as a general rule, Malta's in the shape of a fish, so you can't get lost there. The mouth would be the southern part of the island, basically where the fishing village, but we went up to the tail end of the fish, and as a general rule, the sandy beaches are on the northern part of the island. But when we say we go to the beach in Malta, it doesn't mean it's a vast expanse of sand. We did see a couple, Golden Sands, Aintifia, Chinena Bay, but for the Maltese to swim, we love to swim, plunge off that rock into the lovely deep blue, refreshing Mediterranean seas.
It is blue. So we went that, and then one of the last things you did, and I had totally forgotten this was on the agenda. You said I think you'd said something. You want to go see Popeyes Village, and I kind of blanked on that. And it turns out, yes, there is Popeyes Village from the film with Robin Williams, and it's still there, right?
Yes, that was filmed in Malta 1980. And it was obviously one of the earlier films that came to our islands. Robin Williams, so obviously enough at the time. It was the first film that led him into his filming career. I think it was after Morecambe Mindy, but I stand to be corrected on that. And they built an entire village in a little bay called Anchor Bay on the northwestern part of the island, which normally with a film set they have to demolish the film set, but actually they left it. They got permission. It's a all wooden structure. So you had about 19 huts representing the post office, the firefighting school, Seafarers Hotel. And today it's an attraction not only for the younger generation, because to be honest, the younger ones today, Popeye, who was
Popeye? Yeah.
But with
Who's Robin Williams?
But our age, of course, it's nice to associate with maybe the cartoons where we saw him squash that tin of spinach and straight into his mouth to be strong. So a movie of Popeye.
It is a movie, and it was fun to see that. Of course, as we said earlier, that it's an amazing, because Malta is such a it's been a location for so many films, so many incredible films. Not all the time there'll be a location and they don't say it's Malta, but it is Malta. Like Game of Thrones, obviously they're saying it's wherever in the fantasy world that they've created. But there are and in Gladiator, it's supposed to be Rome, but that's where. And in fact, I believe Gladiator 2 is being filmed already, right?
Well, the ministers now just released that Gladiator 2 is going to be starting. They're building the film sets at the moment, and there was the thing that Denzel Washington's coming to Malta next August, so it's in the pipeline for August. We had Jurassic Park 3 being filmed here during COVID, June 2020, over here, so you might want to see that. The dinosaurs were going to our capital city, Valletta.
I did, for the record, I saw no dinosaurs here, so... Like that, yeah.
But if you watch the movie, they're in the streets of Valletta, beautiful streets of Valletta. So yes, I mean, for film producer Steven Spielberg, Munich was the first film that brought him to Malta before Jurassic Park. Once these people want to come here, you should want to come here as well. Why not?
Absolutely.
And it's definitely one little thing, word of advice, as a Maltese, as a tourist guide, my experience, I've been in tourism since the early 80s, please allocate at least 4 days for Malta. We're small, I appreciate you might be coming from bigger countries, but you need that bit of time, and maybe allocate a night or two also on Gozo. That would be nice. It's the chill out place. So I'm talking a bare minimum of 4 days. If you want to stop a bit longer, yes, you're more than welcome to, and I do say so, but please don't come in for the 1 night or the 2 nights in Malta. You won't see it. You won't even see our capital city.
It is. I totally agree, and I actually would recommend maybe more than 4 days, at least a week, because Gozo is at least 1 night, and maybe 2 nights, and then 4 nights here in Malta proper, because there's so many. Medina itself is a great day trip out to, and you could actually, we just talked about places to stay there. Valletta spend some time in Valletta. A lot of people, you're going to send your customers on cruise ships, and they will love Valletta, but to get outside of the city, they're suddenly going to realize, I got to come back here to experience Malta, the rest of Malta, because there just isn't enough time for just a port visit. Some cruise lines now are staying overnight, but I would say that's not even long enough. So you really have to allot some time, as Cynthia just said. Well, Cynthia, I want to thank you so much for the last few days. It's been a great way for me to get introduced, and now I would love to come back. But I'm going to give you a chance, for people who want to, once again, get in contact with you, how can they reach you in case they want to book their clients with you to take some incredible places all over Malta and Gozo?
Well, I'm one of I think over 1,000 licensed tourist guides, but I've had a few years' experience guiding also some very interesting people. So you're more than welcome to join me, and I would love to show you our little islands. So I believe I'm one of the few, I don't think there's another guide called Cynthia, but my name is Cynthia Zamit Mempel, and the most reachable way for me is WhatsApp via our phone that we carry all the time in our hands to take pictures and everything. And the number is +356. That's our prefix for Malta. But then my phone number would be 9947 8338. There's an email, but that comes in later. But I think WhatsApp is the easiest, most convenient text, and we'll be in touch. Yeah. And I'll be only more than happy to show you, whether it's 4 hours, whether it's a couple of days, Malta, Gozo, even Camino, if you'd like to trek Camino. But you're more than welcome. Please do visit our islands. They're lovely, they're small, and we'll welcome you with a smile.
And you have, definitely. I've really enjoyed my time here. I'm looking forward to coming back at some point in hopefully in the near future. And again, thank you for this wonderful introduction to Malta. It was Malta 101 plus. I may have gotten to 202, Malta 202 by now, the next course. But it has been incredible to be here. And again, get in touch with Cynthia, and she can help your clients out and to really discover Malta. I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.